Welcome back to Book of Star. So today I want to talk about parking spaces. About 3 years ago, I purchased a car and I was afraid to park in New York City, mainly because I didn't want to have to drive around for hours or really just long minutes looking for a parking space. And it got to the point that sometimes I didn't even want to move my car. I wasn't praying about it, wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't want to move my car because the fear of having to drive around for so long really got to me. Until one day, my friend said to me, "Girl, you a tither. You pray for those parking spaces and God is going to give you those parking spaces." And she kept saying it to me and I was like, "You're right. I am a tither. I deserve parking spaces. My father is the father of my father is the most high God and I am the daughter of the king. So I will get parking spaces." And I started saying these things and it really started to amp me up to the point that I started to pray to God and I asked for parking spaces. I would say, "Lord, I pray for a parking space quickly and close by." And so for 2 years, that's what he gave me. Parking spaces that were quickly and close by. And the thing is, I would always take the first parking space that I saw because I was just so grateful I didn't have to drive around for so long. The trauma of driving around for so long looking for a parking space always rang in my mind. The fear and the anxiety always rang in my mind. So the very first parking space he'd give me, I would just go and take it. And the thing is, when I got out my car and I would walk to where I needed to be, I'd pass so many parking spaces because I didn't even give God a chance to show me that there was more down the road. And this went on for 2 years. And for 2 years, I'm just laughing like, me and God's inside joke. I'm always taking this first parking space until God said to me one day, "When are you going to believe me for more?" And I thought to myself, I don't need to. I'm good. You're giving me this. I'm fine with that, right? But what God was trying to show me was that he wanted to increase my faith because I was settling for his first blessing, but I was not accepting his very best. And God wants to give us his very best. And so as this kept on happening, I thought, you know what? I no longer want to have fear and anxiety when it comes to looking for parking spaces. So Lord, I pray for your very best. And what I realized in that moment is that God's very best didn't come quickly, and sometimes it wasn't close by. But what it did give me was peace of mind. I no longer had fear and I no longer had anxiety, and I was secure in the fact that if I was driving around, God was giving me something great to look forward to. And two, that's exactly where I needed to be in that moment. So one time, recently, I did get a parking space and it wasn't close to where I needed to be. And I said to God, "Is this your very best?" And I walked off and I laughed. And as I was walking, a guy was pulling out of a parking space that was even closer. And I thought, "No, God, that's your very best." But what God had to bring to my mind was that in order for me to get the parking space that I got, I drove around probably for a good 5 to 10 minutes. I don't even think 10 minutes. And then I had to wait to get into that parking space. I would not have saw the parking space that the other guy was pulling out of if I didn't wait for the first parking space that I got, because I would have just ended up driving off. So God was showing me a lesson on what his very best looked like. And I'm very grateful that he did, because when the real test came, this is when it really mattered. So I released a video a while now about me leaving my job and passing up a lump sum of money because I was walking by faith. And I couldn't have gotten there if God wasn't grooming me in parking spaces. Because as I decided, should I leave my job? Should I pass up this significant increase and wait for God's best? Or wait for God's best? When I had to decide, I kept thinking, "Lord, this really is a lesson on parking spaces." Because what God was showing me that you can take this little bit amount, which I thought was significant, or you can wait for my very best. And in that moment when it really mattered, I waited for God's very best. And though I'm in transition still, it doesn't matter because I know what's ahead of me. See, God wouldn't make promises to us if those promises weren't big. And all he did was say to me, "You can take this first blessing that I have for you, but don't complain when you see other people surpassing you because you're settling. Or you can wait for my very best and let me blow your mind." And that's the God that we serve, a mind-blowing God, a God who doesn't lie, the God who owns this entire world. We are children of we are heirs of the kingdom. So if we're heirs of the kingdom, that means that he withholds nothing from us on this earth. And sometimes we think that God's very best means that it comes very fast and it's close by. But his very best comes with long suffering and patience and peace. So that when you do get to that moment, like I'm going to hit that moment, we get to give a testimony that is mind-blowing and transformative. Because what God was really showing me was, don't be led by fear. Be led by faith. Bold faith means waiting. Bold faith means trusting in things that you cannot see. Bold faith means trusting in God. I hope this was helpful, because I know that it was helpful for me. Have a blessed day, and don't forget to subscribe to my blog and my... Yeah, mommy, shh. I'm wrapping up. Stop moving, please. Stop moving. Stop moving. So I hope that this was a blessing for you. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get more blogs and vlogs just like this. And follow me on Instagram at bookofstar_ for daily inspirations.